I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
Here we go. It's another edition of the Daily Puck Drop. It's your daily sports podcast. Welcome in, everyone. Whether you're watching or listening live, thank you, or watching or listening later. It does not matter. For those who would always like to watch or listen to this live, we are live every day at 10 a.m. up on YouTube and X. If you'd like to listen to it, download the Puck Sports mobile app to your smartphone, and you can listen to the show on the move, on the go, in your car while we are doing the live show. For those who watch and listen later, we're on all podcast platforms, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Just search Puck Sports and the Daily Puck Drop. Coming up on the show today, we'll quickly go through headlines, the top kind of headlines of the day. A lot of baseball news today, and it's fitting because we'll have Ryan Divish coming up tomorrow. It's Tuesday, so John Canzano stops on by and just to talk about, again, every week it seems like the craziness in all things college football. Danny Kelly sneaks on by for Danny's Dimes from The Ringer. We talk NFL storylines with Danny coming up a little bit later in the program on this day, December 2nd. And then, of course, we wrap up every single show with, Hey, What the Puck? But we thank you every day checking in with us and making the Daily Puck Drop your one and only sports podcast. Now, I know that's a lie, but hey, thank you for checking in. We appreciate the support that you give us. You can always find us, of course, on all the social media platforms, Puck Sports everywhere except for TikTok, which is Puck_sports. And you can find everything up at pucksports.com, including sign up to become a Puck's Posse member. You don't have to, but it would be nice. You get access to everything that we do. You support all the daily programming that we give you every single day. Plus, we give you bonus shows every single week. The latest Sports Pit is out now with myself, Steve Sandmeyer, Matt Stretch Johnson. You'll have another edition of Inside Pitch with Ryan Divish coming out tomorrow. And Thursdays, it is KJ Arntz with Mitch Levy. All right, we are brought to you by Limback Lumber. We're in the Limback Lumber studios. We could not do this show daily without the support of Limback Lumber and others, Flatstick Pub, Georgetown Brewery, Restoration One. But the Limback Lumber studios, they have been with us there from the get-go. Contractors and do-it-yourselfers, they're going to help you out every single day. They will also deliver right to your house. That's the best thing about Limback Lumber. So give them a call if that interests you. If having people that are nice, professional, respectful, if you're into that, they're going to take care of you at Limback Lumber. 206-782-3487. Visit them at limbacklumber.com. Before we talk to Canzano, let's give you headlines here on this world of sports. MLB winter meetings start next Monday through Wednesday in Orlando. So we'll have the winter meetings that will take place starting next week. That's a great time to tease the fact that Ryan Divish, his Inside Pitch episode is coming out tomorrow for Puck's Posse members, so that we will give you updated on all things that are happening there in baseball there with Ryan Divish coming up tomorrow. One guy that a lot of people would have pegged Seattle to get would be Devin Williams. He had been a target for the Mariners, and many Mariner fans wanted Devin Williams in the bullpen, and rightfully so. He finished the season great, but he will not be coming to Seattle. Devin Williams has reached an agreement on a 3-year, $50 million deal there with the New York Mets. Jeff Passan, in his latest article up there on ESPN, has written today, he's ranking his top 25 trade targets, mentions the Mariners as a possible landing spot for second baseman Ketel Marte. He's got 5 years, $91 million left on his deal. He also lists Stephen Kwan as being available, but not linked to Seattle. He's got Seattle being linked, though, to Brendan Donovan. We've talked about Brendan Donovan before, the infielder, outfielder there for the St. Louis Cardinals. 28-year-old. He can play second base, third base, left field. He's got 2 years of arbitration. Brandon Lau has also been mentioned. He's been mentioned many times before. It seems like every single year he has been mentioned and drawn to Seattle. So, again, keep an eye on that. This is just, again, according to Jeff Passan. Alec Boehm on the trade market as well. He's coming off a down year. So just kind of some names to think about as we get there to the Major League Baseball not trade deadline, but the winter meetings. Again, start next week in Orlando, starting on Monday, runs through Wednesday. And we'll talk to Divish coming up tomorrow there on the program. Seahawks are getting healthy. Jarran Reed and Julian Love could return to practice this week as they are eligible to come off the injured reserve. That would be good news. I'm right. Defense that's playing great. Now you could add a couple of more significant players along your defense. Would be a great acquisition there for the Seattle Seahawks if they can get healthy there with Jarran Reed and Julian Love. A real interesting conversation that we had yesterday with Michael Sean Dugar, and that came down to the who is the best player on the Seahawks right now defensively? Like, who is the MVP? And this is fun. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, and it's not meant to be a right or wrong answer. It's just meant to be, right now, who is the key figure, the key cog in this Seahawks defense? And Dugar on yesterday's show, in case you missed it, did not hesitate with his answer to that question. VP right now of the defense, in your opinion, would be who?
Yeah, I think Leo is playing out of his mind. I think he's playing he and Zach Allen in Denver are probably playing the best ball of any defensive tackles in the league. Leo's making it go. There was a sequence puck. I'll give an example. First drive of the game after I think Josh Jobe wipes out Chenna Nwosu's sack to start it. So they get a fresh set it down. First play, Leo, after the penalty, Leo whips Will Fries. Boom. Tackles Aaron Jones for 1 yard. Next play, splits a double team, pressures Rosemary, has to check it down, goes for 6 yards. Next play, 3rd and 3, whips Fries again, sack. 3-play sequence, 3 and out, all because of Leo. Not literally all because of him, but you get the point. Like, that was Leo impact. Basically just smoked the series by himself. And he does that pretty much at least once a game. It's something like, and that's hard to do as an interior defensive lineman, and he's making it shake. And now only one of those plays I mentioned will really be in the stat sheet, so to speak. It's the sack. That'll be the only thing on the highlight reel. But you watch these games, and 99 jumps out every week because he's a game record. He's been the best and most consistent player on the defense.
Again, that is Michael Sean Dugar, the Dugar Report, on with me yesterday. In case you missed it, the full audio version is up there with Dugar on the Daily Puck Drop. You can find it there. If you just want to watch the video of it, we separate all the interviews on YouTube. The Dugar Report is up on YouTube right now. We talk about Leonard Williams' impact on the team. Ernest Jones, very emotional after the game. Why was that the case? And also where the offense is right now, specifically with their wide receivers. The Vikings, did they give the rest of the league something to look at to slow down Jackson Smith and Jigba, or was it just a one-off because, as Mike likes to say, that's a hell of a defense. The hell of a defense that comes at you in different ways and can show you different looks and things that you're just not used to seeing. And I thought he made a great kind of comparison to the Mike Leach air raid that for a lot of teams, it gave defenses problems, minus Washington, it's son of a bitch. But it's hard to prepare for that offense. Not a lot of teams run it. Now more teams run it now. But, back in the day, you get a few days to do it. Like, that's hard. And the defense that Brian Flores runs for the Vikings, it confuses you. It's blitz happy. And so maybe it's just a one-off for the offensive line, perhaps, and for Sam Darnold. But it hasn't been a good 3-game stretch for Sam Darnold. We're going to get into that more with Danny Kelly from The Ringer, Danny's Times, who actually we're flipping some schedules around here. Danny Kelly's going to join us before John Canzano. John's going to come up a little bit later in the program. It is the Jamarcus Shepard press conference, so he's going to cover that, and then we'll get to him after that. So we had to move some things around. trying to do all of this while doing the show, moving some stuff around. But we'll get to Canzano coming up a little bit later in the show after we talk to Danny Kelly from The Ringer. But I do think as you take a step back and look at where the Seahawks are at offensively, and this isn't to hit the panic button. What he's put on paper, what they have done offensively would certainly outweigh, right, what they have shown in the last few games, but, did not perform well there against the Rams. I don't think offensively they looked all that great against the Titans. He got away with some throws in that Titans game. And again, you look at his box score because someone will look at it and go, well, he played a pretty clean game. There were 3 instances of interceptions that should have probably happened for Tennessee, 2 for sure. So you get away with that. And then I thought last week, and again, did the offensive line not protect? Did they not give him enough time? For sure. Absolutely. But there was also other, I think, probably plays in that game that he'd like to have back and play better. And he's got to play better. He's got to take care of the football more. And again, you're getting blindsided, you're getting hit and get the ball knocked out. Fine. It's maybe not all your fault, but the fact is the turnovers are a problem with him in this team right now. They're just not, in the last 3 weeks, he in particular is just not playing all that well. Kind of in a slump right now, and hopefully it gets turned around here in the Falcons game, because what you don't want at the end of the year is to sit there and we talk and we praise about how well this defense has played, and this defense has been outstanding. In fact, I think it gets into the conversation we'll have with Danny. Is this one of the best defenses, if not the best defense that's ever played? And I know it's blasphemy because of what the Legion of Boom did, but I think they're starting to put together, I think, at least in a conversation, as one of the best defenses they've ever had. And there were some great ones there in the mid to late 80s for sure that this organization had. But collectively, what this group is doing, at least they're putting this squad, this group of players, at least in that chat, as one of the best defenses that this squad has ever had. You don't want at the end of the day to be, hey, reason you didn't get to all of your goals, you didn't advance in the playoffs, is because of the quarterback. He just, again, it's not always just on one player, but the quarterback has got to start playing a little bit better. I just think the last 3 games have just been a little bit of a crack, I think, right now in the Teflon there of Sam Darnold. A reminder, we'll talk to John Canzano coming up a little bit later. He's going to be covering the Jamarcus Shepard press conference. He was introduced as the new head football coach at Oregon State. We'll get to Canzano's thoughts on that coming up later in the Daily Puck Drop. Of course, on this day, we'll cover that on December 2nd. And we wrap up every single show with Hey, What the Puck. But before we do all of that, we've got to talk NFL. And when we talk NFL, we like to drink at the same time. And the only beer that we like to drink is from Georgetown Brewery.
Drink Georgetown Tavern Beer, your new locally brewed domestic-style lager. 4.2% alcohol. Cheap, good, local.
That describes us, and it's the same joke I use every single week. Cheap, local, and what is it? Cheap, local,
Cheap,
free?
local, good.
Oh, cheap, local, and good. Yeah, not free. Cheap, local, and good. That's us.
They have a business to run. Come on.
That is right. They do have a business to run. There he is, the smiling Danny Kelly. Follow him on social media, Danny B. Kelly, the Ringer senior staff writer, the Ringer Fantasy Football Show, Ringer NFL Draft Show, all things Ringer, and all things NFL. Our coverage brought to you by Georgetown Brewery. How did Pizza Thanksgiving go?
Oh, it was amazing. I like to do the barbecue style pizza. So I do like a barbecue sauce mixed with Frank's. Throw some onions on there. Throw some cilantro on there. Some chicken. Some like shredded chicken. What else do I put on there? Maybe some Mama's Little Peppers.
What's wrong with you?
What? You don't like that?
Fuck is wrong with you?
I mean, I will eat turkey also. I'm not like...
No, I'm not. We've moved past the turkey.
Okay.
I want you to take that barbecue pizza. I want you to go into an authentic Italian pizzeria and be like, hey, I travel around the country with different pizzas, and I think that maybe this would fit right on your menu. What do you think of this?
It's really good.
It's Bellingham.
Just wait till you try it.
I've had it. You guys are different up in Bellingham.
We are.
Some things you guys
Just
do.
walking cliches up here. You want to? Do you want to know? You want to know how cliche I
How
am?
many people have their jeans rolled all the way up with their Doc Martin boots up there? Is that still a
that's
thing?
Doc Martin. I don't know about that. People.
No, that's not.
People do Blundstones now.
Oh yeah.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
You want to know how cliche I am? I just got back. My friends finally talked me into going mountain biking.
Oh, you are fitting right in.
I just got back from my first foray into mountain biking. I did grow up mountain biking, so it's not like the first time I've ever done it.
Yeah. But you're back in.
I'm back in. They sucked me back in. I'm like, I need to get exercise.
When are you going kayaking up there?
My doctor's trying to get me into kayaking. I'm not kidding. My doctor, who by the way is younger than me, which is like a weird.
That's the best.
A weird inflection point in your life. He is like a super hardcore kayaker, and he's like always trying to talk me into going.
I think you should do it. I think you should start your day off. It's a Bellingham day where you start off in the morning with maybe kayaking, early on. The waters
before the
usually
kids get up. Yeah.
Are usually calmer. Then we go up mountain biking. Okay. Then around 3:00, 3:30, you find yourself in one of those nice little Bellingham breweries.
Right. Because we can't get Georgetown brewery up here, but we can get Georgetown beer because it's delicious.
Sure, but you can find a brewery up there where they type
serve
of
it. Lots of
but you got to get, since it's the holidays, there's probably some type of a winter stout ale up there that's
oatmeal stout.
Oatmeal stout. It's 13.4%. Yeah.
You're describing my whole life, right?
Yeah, and then you're gonna have that, and you're gonna bounce over from that said brewery in Bellingham over to this cute little hip taco stand that just opened up. And the best 100%. Thing about it is it's a meatless taco stand that just opened up, serving the finest habanero portobello tacos.
Kind of sounds right.
With a
I will say I'm not a vegetarian. I love to eat meat, but like a veggie taco is not bad.
Yeah. And then when you're done you swing by the store and get yourself some gummies on the way home. So yeah, this is a Bellingham day.
It's still just shocking to me that people get arrested for marijuana. How is that a thing?
They do? Who's getting arrested?
Not here.
No one's getting arrested anymore for that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I do like when I see people come out of the store, and there still is, even though it's been legal for many, many years, they come out there with their bag or whatever it is.
You have to
and they still look like they're doing something illegal. Have you ever noticed?
They're
kind of looking around like, I don't think this is right.
It feels like a trap.
This is the trap, right? Yeah. You're not buying it off Johnny anymore, and you're holding it up to the light to make sure he didn't put anything in it. Right. Screw around with the weight.
This sounds specific.
Well, it is. Johnny was a dick. Okay, you want to talk football? We can. So should we be concerned before we get to Danny's dimes? And maybe you have it in there. And Danny's dimes these are Danny's observations from the weekend of football. And I don't know if you have an observation, so I may be stepping on it. Are we concerned at all? What's the concern meter for Sam Darnold?
I feel like you've been listening to me lately because this is exactly what I was saying on our show the other night, the Ringer Fantasy Football Show, by the way, which is out four times a week. I'm like a little bit over the Darnold experience. I'm not over it necessarily. He's done a way better job than I think anyone could have expected.
You're back.
It's full circle, time is a flat circle. I'm like, during the whole summer, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
This might not work.
Who else is in the club that's waiting for him to fail? Who else is in your club? It's you. Who else?
No, we're not. No one's waiting for him to fail. I'm starting to get worried that
your friend Mina's on that club. She's waiting in the. You guys are waiting in the shadows, waiting to come out with your Geno jersey on.
No, come on. We've abandoned the Geno wagon. Right. Like the Geno thing is over. That's in the past. Now we're just all aboard the Sam Darnold thing and just hoping the wheels don't fall off. Because he just keeps. Can we just get one clean game? Is what I want. No turnovers. No turnovers. That's all I want.
No balls batted down at the line of scrimmage. For God's sakes, he's 6. Isn't he 6'3", 6'4"?
6'4"?
What the hell?
I think I was complaining about this on Twitter, the batted balls thing. Obviously, the offensive line has a little bit to do with it. A lot of the plays that they were doing are like quick throws to try and, like basically mitigate the fact they don't have a guy blocked, and then the guy that's not blocked jumps up and bats the ball down. That's very frustrating. But yeah, I mean, basically, this is a hot take, and this was an intrusive thought that I had, but like exactly how different is Sam Darnold from Jameis Winston? Maybe he's just a rich man's Jameis Winston. Like, he's not going to turn the ball over quite as much as Jameis.
Doesn't have the personality.
Well, he's definitely a different style of person. A little quieter, all that. But I think, the turnover thing is worrisome to me, and it's not really going away, and it's always been a problem with him. And so I think, and to be serious, like, obviously I don't think he's Jameis Winston, but I think he's either making these incredible throws, dropping it in a bucket 30 yards down the field for JSN or whatever, or things are going a little haywire. Like, it feels like there's not really an in between. And so I'm just a little bit worried about that. I'm worried about when the playoffs get closer, you're playing really good teams, and it's 3rd and 8. What he's going to do when there's pressure happening. So I think that's kind of like where I am right now. Obviously, the Seahawks shut out the Vikings. This is, of course, this is quibbling at this point. Obviously, it's great to get a shutout win. You don't get those very often in the NFL.
No, we should be spending. And this is how stupid we are, because there's people listening
how it is
and watching this going, I hate you two people. And not Danny, but I hate him. And that's me, because you're the one leading this whole thing.
I understand that.
You went right into Sam Darnold, and we should be talking about the defense. And you know what? That person that's saying that, you're right. You're 100% right.
I acknowledge that.
But I can't help myself.
It. This is what we do. We complain.
I know. God, I'm a sick person. We're really
complainers. Do you want to? Let's talk about some good stuff then. Obviously, Sam Darnold, he's been awesome, but maybe just stop turning the ball over. On the good side, wow, that defense. I know that Max Brosner or Brosner. How do you say his name? Brosner?
Brosmer. Yeah, he's.
Oh, there's an M in there. Sorry, Brosmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not very good, but
he's an undrafted free agent. I mean, how about that guy getting his first start? Hey, why don't you go start against that defense? Good luck.
They were like, he was the sacrificial lamb. Like, JJ, why don't you just take a week off? We're playing the Seahawks. We need to keep you. We need to keep your mental health here.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back to you after next week. But yeah, I mean, the Seahawks defense, man, the swarming, the pressure, the depth on all three levels. Obviously, like, maybe the linebacker doesn't have the best depth, but they're getting, this is kind of, I think, a hallmark too of a Mike McDonald defense, is like they're getting really big contributions from random dudes that I'd like almost never heard of before this season, which is kind of what we saw with him when he was coaching on the Ravens. And so, it's awesome. It's really fun to watch this defense. DeMarcus Lawrence has come on and been like a massive factor for them. Their defensive line is absolutely dominant. So yeah, I mean, there's a ton of really good stuff to like. And obviously, if you're focusing on the good, they shut out a team in the NFL, and that is obviously not an easy thing to do.
It's not easy to do, and yes, you can get. He's not a good quarterback. It's
right.
And they were missing guys on the offensive line and all of it. And that's, but you know what? You know who else wasn't a good team was Tennessee. Tennessee.
They made it a game.
And they did make it a game. So, they turned the ball over in the first half. Minnesota's got it with great field position. And they end up obviously holding them out of the end zone because they get the interception on 4th down. And Ernest Jones runs down the field. And
that play.
Yeah, all of it. So, no, I just because who the opponent is and who the quarterback is, I don't think should take away what the defensive performance that they've put together, that they have put together all season long. I mean, I asked this to Dugar on Tuesday's show, or no, today is Tuesday.
Monday show?
Yeah, Monday show. Hold on. Let me take.
Today is Tuesday.
Let me take another sip.
Yesterday was Monday.
Monday show. Who's the MVP on the defense? And he didn't hesitate. He just said Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams is the best player on the team. And this isn't like, it's not even a debate. It's not even someone's right or someone's wrong, because other people could have, different takes on it. But he's been great.
I know.
And there's been so many storylines of that. It's weird because, Danny, he's been so good that it's overshadowed how good Byron Murphy's been.
Yep. I was going to say, the guy next to him has been really, really good too. Again, we've kind of complained about John Schneider over the last few years, but looking back at some of the moves that this man has made over the last couple of years, trading for Leonard Williams, then extending him.
Yep.
The Byron Murphy pick has been great. I think
Ernest
Jones trade has turned out incredibly well. Just like going down the list, like Jackson Smith-Njigba turned into one of the best receivers in the NFL.
Firing Pete Carroll
looks good in retrospect, because not only because Pete is struggling, but because I really do believe strongly in Mike McDonald. I think he's a really good coach.
Yeah.
Emin Wari, who I think some people viewed that as a little bit of a reach, or maybe just a projection based on super athletic guy. I think he's been way better than most people expected. I think Witherspoon, when he's healthy, is one of the best defensive backs in the league. So, they've made some great moves, honestly.
Yeah. And
we have to, I think, call that out. And I think I like the depth in the secondary, like the way they've kind of rebuilt the secondary piece by piece has been great. Julian Love is I think a foundational piece for their defense. It's just, you go down the line. I'm just like kind of honestly just looking at their roster right now. It's like, and there's just
a lot of good moves. I mean, and I think John Schneider in the last couple of years, because I think it was, I think we said this about Schneider, after they moved on from Pete Carroll, that this really now was going to be on him, because the organization was making an announcement of, we believe in you, we don't believe in Pete Carroll.
Mm-hmm.
So we're picking
right,
you.
right.
But it's on you now. So he had to make this work, because if it didn't work out, if Mike McDonald didn't work out, then he'd be out of a job. And then he follows that up by making that move. And again, it's not just his move to move on from Pete Carroll. And then he follows it up this past offseason with Geno Smith was a good quarterback for this team. He was. But they moved on from it. And they got...
Which is a really hard thing to do. And it's rare.
Yeah, and they took a flyer on Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
I mean, he had 1 year, a 16-game resume that he put out. And they decided to go on, with that direction, and it's looked good, but it's hit that little rough patch right now of how he's played. But yeah, it's been a lot of moves that he has done to put his signature on this football team, and they've all gone pretty good. Yeah,
and you look across. I mean, shoot, honestly, like I'm still pretty confident in Sam Darnold. I think we're quibbling, to be clear. It's one of those things, as you start to believe this is a Super Bowl caliber defense. What are we starting to believe about the offense? This is the thing that I mentioned last week, which was what happens to the offense when Jackson Smith-Njigba gets taken away. And we saw in this last game, not a lot happened. Didn't have to happen because the defense was doing so much. But that remains kind of a concern as we get towards the playoffs. Like, we need a secondary guy to step up. AJ Barner's been pretty impressive, honestly. I don't know if he's like a game changer, but he's been a really good role player. Cooper Kupp had a couple of catches in this game. Rashid Shaheed still, I think, is integrating himself into the offense. But if we're talking about like ways that this team can go from being a really, really impressive contender in the NFC to a legit Super Bowl caliber team, I need to see a little more from the offense. But but overall, man, the defense, especially in this season where there are no elite teams. I mean, the Rams lost to the freaking Panthers this week. You get the Eagles losing, you get the Lions losing. I don't think there are any elite teams in the NFL right now. And so a team with a defense like this, I mean, the Seahawks could win the Super Bowl. Straight up.
But there's going to be, and I said this, I think, before you came on, because they've got all the other pieces work. It just cannot come down to 14 being the reason they don't.
Right.
He can't lose it for him. He doesn't. And that's the thing about Sam
Darnold. That's exactly what we've been saying. Yeah.
He doesn't need to win it. Like, they don't need to put,
don't turn it over.
Just don't turn it over. Just don't turn it over. Hey, I want to ask Fox and CBS and NBC to come up with a new camera. You know how like you can watch football games in different
formats,
different formats, and that's more of a college football does that.
You can do that on Thursday Night Football.
Oh, that's right. You can
Prime Vision, which is really great. I like it a lot.
Okay, let's do that. But I want a camera just on Anthony Bradford.
Like the microscope,
the Bradford cam,
right?
Because my favorite game my favorite game, and I really is. I can't get enough of it. And this is the sick person that I am. I laugh at other people's f ups, and it's misery for me.
Schadenfreude.
Yeah. But watching him drop back and do his little shuffle step and not block anyone, but then have his head on a swivel looking for someone to block, not blocking them.
Yeah, like a player in a game like tweaks out or whatever.
Yeah, I get a kick out of it, and it just makes me laugh a lot.
I just why can't this Christian Haynes guy do anything?
He was supposed to be good. I was promised he was
I liked him.
Good.
I liked him in the draft process, and I was excited when they picked him, and then he just can't get on the field. Bradford is obviously he's been a bit of a vulnerability. What's the word I'm looking for?
Train wreck.
Yeah. I'm just looking at PFF's grading right now. Gray Zabel actually has a worse grade than Bradford, which I don't understand how that's possible.
This is why it doesn't. That whole I'll put that whole website on a barge, send it out to the Pacific Ocean.
Why'd you stop doing the barge, by the way?
I need to bring the barge. Oh, we
bring
need
the barge back.
We can bring the barge back.
Barge. Who are we putting on the barge this week?
PFF.
Okay. I mean, I like PFF generally, but
come on, that's all I need to know. They've got him graded worse than Anthony Bradford.
I mean, that's what I'm looking at right now, which I can't see how that's possible, but no. But
it's not. That's what I'm talking about. I stopped listening to them when Aaron Rodgers had a 4-touchdown game and threw for like 400 yards. I'm like, well, he actually got like a B- or something. I'm like, how? I mean, what did he do? And it was damn near perfect.
I think that I know what you're saying there. I agree. I think they have some incredible data though. That I will say. Look, like
I like doing the draft thing, the simulator. That's always my favorite thing. That's the little draft simulator is my favorite. But here's the thing about Bradford. Mike McDonald finally admitted this week. He did it on his coach's show.
Yeah,
admitted that. Yeah, it's going to be kind of back open. It felt like
the competition's back open.
It felt like the first time he kind of admitted that. Yeah, it's going to be open this week with Haynes. And hey, I think for Christian Haynes' sake, burst through it, man. This is your opportunity to take it, not give it back.
Seriously. I don't know what the deal with that is. I think a lot of people in the draft community kind of liked him and looked at that as like it was a really good value where he was taken. I believe he was a 3rd rounder. And yeah, it just has not panned out for him. Obviously there's a lot of variables with what kind of person he is. Like, does he really love football? All that stuff is always goes into it too. Right. So yeah, I'm just really hoping he can step up and kind of grab this job because they really need him to. I mean, they need to get the run game going a little bit more consistently. I do think Kenneth Walker's been running pretty well, and also Charbonnet's been running pretty well the last couple of weeks, and so they're getting that going. But I mean, it all goes back to what we've been talking about. What we've been harping on, I'm sure a lot of people think, is just they need another counterpunch in their offense when Jackson Smith and Jigba's not working, or the offense, or play actions just maybe not quite clicking. If they're trying to play from behind, they just need another punch. They need something that they can counter with.
Yeah, and I would imagine that was kind of one of your Danny's dimes, right? Is just having another option. And you're right, because you look at Shaheed. I mean, an absolute non-factor.
He's done nothing. I think he's like 4 catches in 4 games or something like that.
4 catches for 37 yards in 4 games.
I mean, they're trotting him out there in the backfield. It just feels it feels strange because he was such a huge part of Kubiak's offense when he was with the Saints last year.
Yeah.
And I thought there would be a much more seamless transition. But at the same time, the way that their offense has played the last few weeks, they really haven't needed him. Like in terms of just like they get big leads early on, and then they kind of just coast the rest of the way. So I will say, like, that's the one thing that is holding me back from being like overly concerned about this is just, I mean, they're not really needing him yet. So that's just been kind of like, I wonder when that's going to start to happen. When are they going to start to look at him deep? Because right now it's like manufactured touches, give him a carry from the backfield, things like that. So that's something I'm watching closely.
All right, what else is on your mind? What else is on Danny's dimes from the weekend that was the NFL?
Let me get
games.
Why is Lamar Jackson broken? What's going on with that? Lamar Jackson is okay. My co-hosts always talk about this. It's like Space Jam, where they take away the powers. I haven't actually seen the movie, but I understand the reference. It's like it feels like Lamar Jackson's powers have been sapped.
They're gone.
I don't understand what's going on with him. I know that he's hurt.
Just
generally.
years of wear and tear, Danny.
Yeah, maybe.
Wear and tear. You can't play that way. He did it for a long time. And you love the mobile running quarterback, but this is the part. This is the downfall of it.
I mean, this is kind of what's happening with Jaden Daniels this year too. It's like Jaden Daniels had this electric rookie season.
Yeah.
But this is always the concern. This is the concern with Jackson Dart. We saw him get absolutely lit up on the freaking sideline last night. Quarterbacks need to protect themselves. Lamar Jackson's done a really good job in his career of protecting himself. I will say that. But Jaden Daniels, Jackson Dart, some of these guys that like to run a little bit more, they really have to learn that being healthy is more important than getting that first down.
And I don't know if this is the result of why this team is 8-4, but I think there's a little Josh Allen to it. I mean, Josh Allen's got 19 touchdowns, I think 10 interceptions, same as Darnold. Is the second leading rusher on that team. I just think when you play that certain way for your entire career, and the shots, the body blows, it just adds up.
Yeah,
it always will. And I think that shelf life of that type of quarterback is going to be much shorter than the shelf life of a Drew Brees and Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and these guys that just make their living from the pocket.
Right.
They're not using their athleticism. They're using their arm and getting the ball out fast and quick and all those kinds of things. I mean, you saw it with Russell Wilson.
Oh God. Yeah.
That's it.
His game fell apart.
Down. When he lost his legs, it was over.
There was a cliff. The other one I wanted to talk about, and you I don't know if you watched Monday Night Football closely, but man, Drake Maye might have a case for the MVP.
I'm glad you brought it up.
It's wild.
Two things from that game. One, just make the damn uniforms permanent.
I know they're so good.
Please,
Pat the Patriot.
Oh,
the freaking Revolutionary War soldier snapping a football. Come on,
it's just one of the prettiest uniforms in sports, and they all are. This is what I don't get about the NFL
all
franchise.
The throwbacks are so much better
because the quality of the product is better, right? The material, the design, all of it's better. And so when you go back to those old ones, they just
primary colors.
They
like this is my bone to pick with all the uniform changes over the years. Is like they stopped using the normal colors. They felt like they had to find new colors.
Yeah,
and they're like these weird sort of dirty looking versions of like the old classic uniforms.
Like the Giants, when the Giants go and they didn't wear it yesterday, but when they wear the block Giants helmets. The Phil Simms uniforms.
Like they say Giants on them.
Yeah, those are the best. Mark Gastineau Jets uniforms. The Dolphins need to go back to their original uniforms.
The Dolphin with the helmet on it?
Yes. The Chargers, they wore them this weekend. Go back to those ones. The dark blue with the real yellow bolt. Not the powder blues. Although
you don't like the powder blues?
I do like the powder blues. I do.
Okay.
The Falcons, I want to see the red helmet.
I like, all these uniforms too. I think a lot of them have in common is just like the piping, the stripes on the ends of the sleeves and the socks and everything. Like all that stuff, the old classic looks to me are the best. I love that. And everyone I talk to in the world, legitimately, I've never talked to anyone who thinks the Seahawks should keep their current uniforms. Well, everyone thinks they should go back to the royal blue. Yeah. And the silver and royal blue, or whatever they call the blue. I don't know what they call it, but man. Yeah, the Seahawks throwbacks are, I think, top two.
So what blew me away last night when I was watching the game and they mentioned it, and I'm just looking at, is he still Drake Maye is leading the league in passing, right? Yes. He's got the most passing yards in the NFL. Did you hear this stat that they rolled out yesterday? He doesn't have a 300-yard game.
Oh, really?
Nope.
He's leading the league in passing?
He's leading the league in passing and does not have a 300-yard game. The closest one was a couple of weeks ago against the Bengals, 294 yards. But he's yet to throw the ball you're right. 300 yards.
It's all in the 200s every week.
Yep. Been great.
Consistency right there. Yeah, I mean, he's got, let's see here, 23 touchdowns, 6 picks, only 8 turnovers on the year. Also added 319 yards rushing. 81 rushes on the year, which is
he's
second.
Been good.
Only
God, he's
Jalen
been
Hurts
good.
rush attempts than Drake Maye this year. I mean, he's legitimately like sort of a poor man's version of Josh Allen right now, which is what kind of people had talked about his ceiling being. I always compared him to like a Justin Herbert type of player, but I mean, I can see the Josh Allen comps now. I mean, obviously, he's got, I think at one point he was leading the league in success rate. I want to look where he is now. Yeah, I mean, he's number 1 in the league in success rate. So that is keeping the team on schedule. That is accuracy, not turning the ball over. You know, he's done it all. I think that the one caveat, obviously, if we're going to be complainers, which we love to be, is they just haven't really played that many hard, if any, really hard teams this year. They had one of the lighter schedules in the NFL. So that's kind of the big caveat. But I mean, Drake Maye's ascension to what he is this year, I think is one of the biggest stories in the NFL. I mean, he's legitimately one of the favorites for the MVP.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we got John Canzano standing by to talk college football. But before you go, has your house ever been egged? And if so, when's the last time?
No, it has not been egged that I know.
Our house has been egged.
Is that because they didn't like your takes or what?
No,
or it's just like
high school kids for my daughter. Yeah. Egged once, but then the cost of eggs have gotten so expensive. The kids aren't egging houses anymore.
Right.
They're hot dogging houses.
Throwing hot dogs?
Throwing hot dogs at your house, which
I kind of like that.
Would my dogs like it because they go out and clean it up.
You don't have to go like wash the side of your house.
Yeah.
When you get hit by a hot dog.
The home of the New Jersey home of Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo.
Yep.
If that's how you pronounce his name.
I believe so.
Egged over the weekend.
Things are not going well.
Eagles fans are upset with the offensive coordinator. Yeah. I'm rewatching Friday Night Lights, the TV show right now. Yeah. I think what I'd like to bring back, instead of egging his house, they should have brought out the for sale signs. And you stick them in the front yard, the for sale signs, when you want the coach to leave. Because Coach Eric Taylor for Dillon High, now he's not at Dillon High anymore, he's at East Dillon. But again, he's had a few tough losses, and then anytime that happens
up for sale
in the Dillon, Texas community, you know, guys get upset and they want some changes, and so Eric Taylor's got to move for sale signs. So his house got egged.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always thought that Philly fans take things so well. So this is really out of really out of character for them.
It is. You would not see this happening from them or that taking place. All right, Danny Kelly, appreciate it. Tell everyone where they can watch and listen to the show.
You can check out the Ringer Fantasy Football Show. And by the way, we're going to do the Ringer Draft Show this year as well, every year. So we're doing NFL draft coverage. But you can find that wherever you find your podcasts. We go 4 times a week. We talk football, we talk fantasy, we talk a little bit of everything. So yeah, check us out.
Thank you, Danny. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, there he is, Danny Kelly, Danny B. Kelly, social media, the Ringer Show, senior staff writer, Ringer Fantasy Football Show, Ringer NFL Draft Show, and again, our NFL coverage all brought to you by Georgetown Brewery. Well, fresh off the Jamarcus Shepard press conference, I believe, we got John Canzano coming up next. First, a word, though, from our sponsor that brings it, John Canzano, every single week. That would be Flat Stick Pub. If it's fun you desire, it's fun you're going to get at Flat Stick Pub. It doesn't matter what the occasion is, whether it's date night, guys night, ladies night, or large group event, Flat Stick Pub's got you covered. They have 6 great locations across the Pacific Northwest, from Pioneer Square to Kirkland, South Lake Union, Spokane, Bellingham, and Redmond. All locations offer the best pub experience in Washington. 2 rules at Flat Stick Pub: drink local and have fun. Pretty simple. So if you like to have fun, love local beer, and great tasting food, make Flat Stick Pub your next spot. Visit them at flatstickpub.com. All right, we got to cover the hiring of Jamarcus Shepard. I misspoke. The press conference is coming up later today, coming up at noon. Did Oregon State get it right? Oregon has lost their offensive coordinator. Lane Kiffin is an idiot. We'll get you caught up on all the college football playoff rankings. Jimmy Rogers, year 1. Just the mess that is college football. We covered every single week with the one and only, the great John Canzano, johncanzano.com, and his weekly appearance brought to you by Flat Stick Pub. If you're looking for a spot to go out with a large group of friends, make Flat Stick Pub your location. They will have you covered for everything. And they've got great locations across the state: Kirkland, Pioneer Square, South Lake Union, Spokane, Bellingham, and Redmond. John, let's first start with where you're at. You're in Corvallis, Oregon State press conference. Jamarcus Shepard. Why did Oregon State and Scott Barnes land on Jamarcus Shepard?
Well, I don't think it's the guy they wanted, right? They in the beginning wanted somebody with head coaching experience. And I think Brent Vigen, the Montana State coach, and certainly Tim Polasek at North Dakota State were at the top of that list. Jamarcus Shepard, though, Washington fans and Washington State fans familiar with him from his time as a receiver coach at both places. He's an energy guy. He also, got in that room with the hiring committee and did what he does when he's a terrific recruiter. He knocked it out of the park, so to speak. He was very well prepared. Interesting little thing here, Puck. He even reached out to me before he went into the interview. And I talked to him about a week before the interview, and he wanted to know all about the Pac-12. He wanted to know, all about Oregon State's leadership dynamic. But I am told by members of that committee that he went in and he was just fantastic in the interview. They obviously got him in that final interview, situation, and his energy just infectious. And he ends up with the job despite having no prior head coaching experience. So I think, a big energy move for Oregon State.
Mm-hmm.
And people on campus, as they are getting to know him in the last 24 hours, are coming back and telling me the same thing. They're all saying, look, we found somebody who is going to try to solve problems and not just talk about the problems. We found somebody who wants to be here, not somebody who's taking it as a fallback option, and not using it, certainly not using it just, to raise their profile as a sitting head coach. Jamarcus Shepard wanted this job, and I think that mattered to Oregon State.
And I would encourage people, if you're a subscriber, you've probably read it, or go read it later today. If you're not, go sign up to be a subscriber at johncanzano.com. A great background profile on Jamarcus Shepard. You talked to it was a grade school or middle school
gym teacher. Middle school gym teacher.
It was just great. And it was just great background about how he came up and how he, worked through kind of all of the ups and downs of his childhood and all through, high school and college. I didn't know this. I mean, he shares something very much in common with Mike Leach, probably why Mike Leach ended up hiring him. He did not play college football.
Well, he played at a Division III school. But what Leach loved about him was Leach hired him because Leach had never met him, right? He found him on social media. And what Shepard's path was that, after he played Division III college football, he didn't go into coaching. He went to work for the NCAA. Then he went for the NFL's drug testing, entity. He went and worked over there. And the reason why he went and took those jobs, Puck, is he couldn't afford to go be a graduate assistant. He had kids. He had a wife. He had come from nothing. As a middle schooler, the teacher told me that she remembered him in a way that she didn't remember other kids, because she said he was so poor. And they were in an affluent middle school they were busing kids from across the Fort Wayne, Indiana city. And Jamarcus Shepard was one of those kids who bussed over. And so what Leach loved about him was that he didn't have this typical story where he had, been in coaching. It wasn't he had played. Coach Leach, who never played college football himself, loved that Jamarcus Shepard sort of thought in an unorthodox way. And so I think that there's the parallel for you. But his teacher, literally, I had tears in my eyes when I was listening to her on the other end of the phone, Puck. She's so insanely proud of that kid. And she was like, I knew he would make it. I knew he was going to make it. He was always smiling. He outworked everyone. He never made his socioeconomic, background an issue. And so I think Oregon State got a guy who I think is going to go to work for them.
Yeah, it should be great. I mean, I saw a little briefly of his introductory press conference with his team or team meeting. He's got a lot. He's got a lot of energy, and just got to hopefully translate. It's a tough place to win there. It's been done before, and we'll see if he can do it. Oregon, meanwhile, up the road or down the road, I can't remember which way it is. Will Stein leaves. He takes the Kentucky job. What will he stay on with Oregon?
Yeah, he's supposed to stay on and call the plays throughout the college football playoff, but you know how that goes. You can't, you're 1 foot in, you're 1 foot out. It'll be really interesting to see how that impacts Oregon's performance. We've seen this before with a number of coordinators who try to stick around. Part of his focus, part of his brain is going to be on building the program at Kentucky, right? And recruiting, and he's got a signing day and the portal and retaining his own roster. And so simultaneously he's going to be asked to call plays for Oregon. On the bright side, they're not in a conference championship game this weekend. They also, potentially could end up, we'll find out today at 4:00, they could end up in a position after these conference title games are played with a bye that, could make them a 4 seed, or maybe they're the 5 seed and they get a home game. So, I think Oregon is a little bit uneasy, but I asked Dan Lanning about his assistant coaches a week ago because I could kind of see this coming. And he said he's told his coaches, go pursue your dreams, go pursue these jobs, but don't forget why these schools are interested in you. It's because of the job you're doing right now. So we'll be curious to see if Will Stein and then maybe Tosh Lapoy, there's a lot of smoke out there about Lapoy going to Cal. He could lose both coordinators here in the middle of the postseason. The calendar obviously needs to be fixed in college football. Sure. This is all wonky.
Tosh Lapoy, head coach, in your opinion?
At the right school, yes. At a school that maybe has challenges with recruiting, yes. I think it's interesting that, as all these jobs opened up, even Oregon State talked to Will Stein and interviewed Will Stein. They did not interview Tosh Lapoy, not with a formal interview. So I don't think they viewed him as being on the same level as Will Stein. But a place like Cal that really has struggled historically to attract talent and recruit, we all know that Lapoy is pedal to the metal as a recruiter. I think there are some questions about his ability to be an X and O guy who can call a game or make adjustments in game. I think we saw Oregon get outfoxed a couple of times last season, and everybody kind of looked over at Lapoy. And so I think when I look at Oregon's hierarchy, I look at Dan Lanning and I go, gosh, I bet you Dan Lanning down deep really is focused on maybe at one point bringing in a D coordinator who can really make in-game adjustments and really coach the way that Ohio State did a year ago, and bringing in, an offensive and defensive coordinator. And, they coach circles around Oregon. So to Lapoy, is he a head coach? I think he is at Cal. And, he's an East Bay kid. I think he wants that job. Everybody's kind of looking at it, thinking it's lined up for him. And maybe the UC system is just holding this up. But, he's a fantastic recruiter. He will need coordinators who can really coach the game.
I want to go back to Oregon State for just a quick second. Yeah. Did they do any back channel at all, any suspicion that Jonathan Smith would end up being fired? Did they ever kick the tires on bringing him back?
I'm still working on that, but I reached out on the day before Thanksgiving to people on Jonathan Smith's staff at Michigan State. I kind of took the temperature, and they weren't hearing a lot about Smith being in contact with Oregon State. And I think, Puck, I think it was just too many bad feelings about the whole way he left. Goodwill. You can't do that. You can't drop your stuff at Goodwill. But the vibe check that I got, the source came back and told me, I said, what is it? What is the vibe right now between the football program and administration? And they said awkward silence, which is kind of like when no one will talk to you, you're fired, like that kind of thing. So I don't think it was a big surprise that he got pushed out. But I do know that, Oregon State knew it had Jamarcus Shepard. And I think Scott Burns probably went back and looked at Justin Wilcox for sure. He had a conversation with Justin Wilcox about, would you be interested in this job? Wilcox, the timing just didn't work for him. He's making almost $11 million from Cal. It didn't make any sense. He wouldn't get paid. Anything Oregon State paid him was going to be offset by, what Cal was supposed to pay him. And so I think for Wilcox, it was just a matter of, let me pump the brakes here and take a breather. And then they knew they had Jamarcus Shepard, who's got a high ceiling. But I don't think, my hunch is that Jonathan Smith was not a serious consideration, but there was something really strange about the way that Oregon State paused on that Wednesday before Thanksgiving. It was almost like they were taking one last look around to make sure everybody out, kind of like the auction house does before they hit the gavel.
That's exactly what that's a perfect description of it. What do you think?
Done, everybody in? Anybody more? Any puck in the back?
You got a relationship with him. I mean, what do you think is the next step for Jonathan Smith? What does he do?
Well, the shine has come off, right? I mean, if you go back, I think he made a real mistake, and I think his agent did a real disservice when he left Oregon State. They left in such a rush, Puck. It was like it was any port in the storm. They were just, the Pac-12 was crumbling behind them. They got scared. I think they made a mistake in going to Michigan State. It was a bad job. It's not a good fit. I think if he holds out, he's the coach at Washington right now, isn't he? Or he's at UCLA. So, the shine is off of him. And I don't think he's going to be a candidate for prime jobs. And I think you're going to look at him and go, does he have to go be a coordinator again somewhere? Or does he going to have to go to a group of 5 school, which is the great irony that, he could have just stayed at Oregon State. They would have put a statue of him out front of Reser Stadium. And I keep coming back to this. Dennis Erickson, Mike Riley twice, Jonathan Smith, Willie Taggart, Chip Kelly. There's something about like the beauty of the place you're at that should not be lost. And I get it. Jonathan Smith he's getting, they owe him $33 million still, but he could have stayed in Corvallis, making $5 million a year, strumming his guitar for a lot of years, and he would have been really happy.
And that's a perfect segue to the guy that's in the news right now, and that would be Kalani Sitake of BYU. And if you and I were sitting here and advising him, the Puckett Canzano advisement firm, we'd say, do not take that job. That's a bad fit for him. He 100%. Doesn't need to go anywhere. There's so much untapped money at BYU. You got the guy, the CEO. If people don't know, if you got kids, you've heard of Crumble Cookie. The owner of that, the inventor of it, CEO of it, is a BYU alum. Stay put. Yep. That's a great fit for him. Penn State it'd be awful. He'd be making a Jonathan Smith mistake if he did that.
Yeah, the guy, the CEO of Crumble Cookie is saying he's ready to roll his sleeves up. You stick around. Like
that means the price of the damn cookies are going to go up, and they're already too damn expensive already.
Yeah, look, here's my thing. I don't think a full cookie. I don't think you should have a full cookie at Crumble. I think you should be halving those, quartering those things. They're pretty rich.
What's the one I like the most? The Kentucky cake batter one. Jeez.
I know Sitake a little bit. There's a feeling to me that everybody wants to be appreciated. Everybody wants leverage in their job. And, I'm sure BYU can give him everything that he wants, but he can get to the playoff at BYU. Yeah. He can compete in the Big 12 conference and win that conference. He'll never pay for a meal anywhere in the state of Utah. Yes, if we were advising him, you stay put, you be happy. As Dan Lanning said, the grass isn't greener. I look at Sitake and I think, he just is one of those guys that really fits where he is. And that school is perfect for him.
Yeah. And you've been there. You want quality of living. I mean, come on. They're just Happy Valley, just not a place you want to sit there and live and all that.
Super flattering. But, look, there's something about knowing where you are and knowing who you are and being comfortable in that Sitake strikes me as a guy who gets that. I hope he makes the right choice.
Go back to because this is 2 years in a row with Brett Vegan at Montana State. All indications are that he was the target for Ann McCoy at Washington State, that they wanted to hire him, but he did the same thing that he did this year that he did at Washington State last year. Hey, I can't make a decision, or I certainly can't leave my post until we're out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And many people have speculated he's never going to get a job because they're always going to be good because he's always been good there until he decides that he'll leave and take a job and not coach them in the playoffs or what have you, or make a decision until they're eliminated. Yeah. And I understand that line of thinking, but John, in this craziness of college football and Lane Kiffin and these coaches jumping, I respect the hell out of him for the decision he's made the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He could have elevated himself professionally. He's not done it because in his world, he owes a commitment to the kids that he's coaching now. Why can't we just respect that?
I think we should. And I was told, he became a finalist at Oregon State. They flew him into Portland. They interviewed him at a hotel near the airport. And part of that conversation was, hey, we want you to start right away. He says, ooh, deal breaker for me. I ask my kids for a commitment. I give a commitment back. I certainly can start to do some things as the head coach if you were going to hire me, but I can't come on full time until the end of the playoffs. He's the 2 seed in the FCS playoffs. It was interesting that Oregon State was interviewing, the coach of the 1 seed North Dakota State and the coach of the 2 seed Montana State. Clearly, there's a blueprint here that Curt Cignetti laid out at James Madison and Jimmy Rogers followed at Washington State, where, you hire that FCS division coach or that lower division coach, and then they bring 15 or 17 guys with them. That's clearly what was going to happen. And Vigen didn't want to sign on for that. And so Oregon State kind of thanked him. And, I think they knew if they didn't really like another candidate, they probably could circle back and allow him to finish the season. But there was an unspoken respect that was given, like, hey, you know what? This is one of the reasons we're interested in you, because you're a person of integrity. And I thought it was interesting too. When he announced he was coming back to Montana State, it didn't come with contract extension and raise. He just announced he was coming back. Tim Polasek at North Dakota State got a big raise, got multiple years on his deal, and it came one day after Oregon State interviewed him. That told me that was already in the works, Puck. Like, that was a leverage play for Polasek at North Dakota State. I don't think he ever intended to leave there. But Brent Vigen at Montana State, I think you have to respect what he did.
Yeah, I thought you nailed it in your remarks about the North Dakota State coach. I mean, he picked a very public place to meet with Oregon State in North Dakota, in Fargo, so everyone could see it. And he wanted people to know that he was being interviewed by Oregon State. And you're right, to leverage it into a new deal. He probably has a job out.
He gets the contract extension a day, like within 36 hours.
Right.
That doesn't happen. That doesn't come together in 36 hours. That was in the works as he's interviewing. And, then he makes the decision to stay.
Hey, Lane Kiffin said this week at his press conference, we introduced the LSU coach. He doesn't even know what his contract says. He doesn't even know how much money he makes, John. He has no idea of how much money he makes now as the new head coach at LSU. You talk about a story that just, put its arms around everyone in the sports world this weekend. Lane Kiffin going to LSU for Ole Miss. There's so much to cover. I'll just give you the blank slate to go.
Well, it galvanizes the entire college football world except LSU fans, because everyone's going to be rooting against LSU. But let's start by saying LSU is a better job than Ole Miss. Okay, let's give him that. But let's also recognize, like, hey, LSU fan, if you're watching this, guess what? It ends badly for you too. It ends the same way that USC and Tennessee and the Raiders and Ole Miss, it ends badly for you if you're an LSU fan. You have to know that going in. It's just sad to me that, here was a guy who had a chance to say, I've evolved, I've matured, I'm different. And then he did the same damn thing that he's always done. Like, I'm sure the sociologists and the psychologists out there that are studying Lane Kiffin are all going, yeah, best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And this guy nailed it. He is who he is. It's the parable of the scorpion riding the frog across the river. And, I'm not going to sting you. Give me a ride across the river. Yeah. Then the frog gets stung halfway across the river. Why? Because I'm Lane Kiffin. That's why. It's in the end, you look at it and you go, gosh, these guys, they just don't get it. And he might have a chance to win a national championship, a better chance to win a national championship. But man, does it just stomp all over what could have been at Ole Miss this year and ruins their season. And, Washington fans probably were, sick over Kalen DeBoer leaving for Alabama. But imagine Kalen DeBoer leaving for Alabama after the semifinal round or before the playoffs start. Right. It's just it's so sad to me, and it's really despicable what Lane Kiffin did.
Or how about Kalen DeBoer, holding the school hostage, saying, if you don't let me coach, I'm going to poach all of the players and the staff. Like, he's going to do it anyways. Yeah. That's the funniest thing about it. But this idea, and then the PR machine of ESPN, which has its own tentacles of it. They're all being represented, these talking heads, by the same guy that's representing Lane Kiffin. And now it begs the question: should the Kirk Herbstreits of the world and Nick Saban admit and just put out to the public, we are being represented by the same guy that represents Lane Kiffin? So everyone knows where we're coming from, because the talking points of, well, he should be allowed to coach, was one of the most asinine things I've ever seen put out on that network. No one would ever, nor should they let him coach in that game. I remember when Mike Price took the job for Alabama. This is way back 2003. 90% more of Cougar fans did not want him to coach in that game. Like, listen, you made your decision, move on.
Right.
We'll find somebody else. But God, no, there's no way he should coach Ole Miss. And I feel bad for those players and that fan base. They got a great chance to win the whole thing, and their coach said, that's not important to me.
And I'm interested to see how they play, right? I wouldn't want to play them in like a quarterfinal round, because they're either going to, scatter and not be the same team, or they're really going to pull together and they're going to be a dangerous team in these playoffs. I just think there's a little unknown with them as they move forward. But I also think, as I look at Lane Kiffin and the way that decision went down, people are going to point to the calendar. You mentioned the talking heads. I think it's a great point for the public to know that a lot of the personalities on ESPN are represented by CAA. That's the same agency that represents these coaches. And so you have a lot of propaganda. You have a lot of conflict. Pay attention to who the newsbreakers are at ESPN. The newsbreakers are not breaking that news because they're out working people. They're breaking that news because their agent happens to represent the clients that they're covering.
Do you think it is a conflict of interest? I'm curious, because I think Nick Saban's getting a lot of criticism for going on ESPN, talking about what Lane Kiffin should do or shouldn't do. And then at the same time, behind the scenes, you heard from Lane Kiffin himself, right? It was God, Pete Carroll, and Nick Saban that helped him come to that decision. You know? So does Nick Saban need to tell the public that, hey, listen, I'm advising him behind the scenes?
I think transparency is good. I mean, sunshine is good. And the fact that, Nick Saban's representation is, the same as Lane Kiffin's representation matters in that conversation. It's context that matters when Kirk Herbstreit is saying, he should be allowed to coach the game. It matters that, is he saying that because he believes that, or is he saying that because his agent is going, hey, we need you to provide some cover here for Lane? I think, those conflicts are dangerous. I tend to care about it more than the average college football fan. I'm curious to see what the public will do with that as that information kind of gets out there. But there's a lot of that going on with the networks and with the people that they cover.
Yeah, and you're going to see. I mean, the machine is working overtime to get Texas in to the playoffs. You'll hear it tonight. I mean, it will be full on to get the Longhorns into the college football playoff. I'm going to get to that in a quick second. But before that, I want to get to the Heisman. You have a Heisman vote, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you look at the candidates this year, and I was thinking about it this week. There just isn't anyone that pops off, at least to me. And I find it funny. Like, Julian Sayin is the betting favorite right now for the Heisman. He's a quarterback of Ohio State, and he's a good quarterback. When I watch him play against Michigan and other games, I don't go, oh, that's the best player I've seen in college football. In fact, he's not even the best player on the team. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's like fourth on the list, maybe fifth on the list. I mean, the Reese kid is the best player on that team. He's number 8. He's the defensive player.
Yep.
He's the best player in college football. What can we ever just get to the point where we award who the best player is and not just who the best quarterback is? Because that's what it's turned into.
Yeah.
Is just who the best quarterback is or best offensive player.
We need more of this conversation, because I can remember when Jadeveon Clowney was, at South Carolina, that's the best player in football. Like, what are we doing here? But the award has become the quarterback who plays for the highest ranked team in college football, or whoever Fox or ESPN gets behind. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with my Heisman vote yet. And I love that they have, they don't allow you to vote now until after the championship games have been played, which is good. I think that's helpful. But, I'm looking hard at a guy like Diego Pavia. What does he mean to his team? Who is the most valuable player? I think you have to look around and I think it's a fair point that, the guy that everyone is saying is the betting favorite is not even the best player on his team. Come on.
Here's the thing about the Vanderbilt quarterback where I don't want to see it, because I don't want to see the mom. I want the mom done, and I want the brother done. The brother got arrested at the UT at the Tennessee game for being
you've had your fun.
I've had enough of that. Fun. I'm telling you, the guy that needs to get more talk, but he's not going to do it, and he won't even get a vote, is the North Texas quarterback. I saw him earlier this year against Wazoo. That kid is amazing, and I don't care about the competition and all that. He's putting up video game numbers. and should be at least there in the conversation. All right, rankings will come out tonight. Where do you expect Oregon to be? Do you think they crack the top 4?
I think they're going to be at 5. I think they're going to sit at 5. And I think, though, there's a potential here if some of these conference championship games don't go the way that we expect them to go. If there's maybe a blowout here or there, I think there's a potential here that Oregon could slip into the 4 spot. I don't think the Ducks want to be in the 4 spot. I think they want to host an opening round game.
Okay. Well, okay, listen, what happens? What happens if Alabama loses? How nervous are they?
Yeah.
If Alabama loses to Georgia in the SEC title game.
Yeah.
Are they out?
No.
Okay.
No. I think Alabama's going to get in.
Duke beats Virginia. That will cause all kind of anarchy because there's no way Duke's getting in. You know, they got 5 losses, right? So that will open the door for all of just this nightmare scenarios wherever, and that's what Texas is opening, obviously. What if BYU beats Texas Tech?
Ooh.
Does that knock Texas Tech out?
I don't know. That's why we got to tune in at 4:00 today because what I think and what the committee thinks, you know, 2 different things. But I think the Big 12 was hoping that somebody beat Texas Tech so it could get 2 teams into the playoff. And now you kind of wonder, are they only going to get 1? And then what do you do? Like one of the things I'm really looking at is what is the committee going to do with Miami and Notre Dame? Where are they in relation to each other in this bracket? Because the ACC has to be hoping that Miami gets some value and gets a bump.
Yeah. All right. Have fun at the Jamarcus Shepard press conference coming up later. Read all of his work, johncanzano.com. Of course, the radio show as well, the Bald-Faced Truth down there at the game, starting at 3 o'clock. His weekly appearance all brought to you by Flat Stick Pub. Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you next week. There he is, John Canzano, johncanzano.com. And again, that entire show will be up on YouTube later, also part of the daily podcast up there on Apple and Spotify and wherever you find your podcast. And again, brought to you by Flat Stick Pub. Big thanks to Flat Stick Pub. Like I said before, it's a great place for large group events, great place for your kids after a sporting event, a great place to watch your favorite team, including the Cougs. Does not matter. They've got locations all across the state to take care of you. East side, they got you covered. Kirkland. Downtown, Pioneer Square, got you covered. Same thing there with South Lake Union. That's the one that we love. If you're over in Spokane, they've got you covered there. Bellingham up north, also in Redmond. Visit them at flatstickpub.com. Again, if you got a corporation of business, you want your group event there, go to flatstickpub.com. Tell them Puck sent you. All right, we've got Hey What the Puck coming up here momentarily. But before we get to that, we've got to do on this day, Tuesday, December 2nd. So we're going to get you covered in a couple of different storylines and happy birthdays and a couple of no longer with us. On this day, on December 2nd, 1901, a man by the name of King C. Gillette starts his empire. You see it all the time, especially during football games, the commercials. Gillette sells the first ever razor blades in the United States. King C. Gillette, which is a great name, by the way. He originally came up with the idea in 1895. It takes him about 6 years to patent the idea, come up with it, and deliver it to the consumer. But many of you this morning, as you're watching and listening to this live or later, you started off your day using a Gillette razor. This is by far one of my favorite stories we've ever done on this day. 1991. Bobby Bonilla becomes the highest paid player in Major League Baseball history, when at the time, it's nothing now, agrees to a 5-year, $29 million contract with the New York Mets. When the Mets wanted to release him at the end of the season in 1999, Bonilla, being a smart kind of businessman, negotiated a settlement that would have the Mets pay him annually $1.19 million on July 1st, every year starting in 2011 through 2035. So he's got 10 more years where the New York Mets have got to pay him $1.19 million. Here's the side of the story that you don't know about, because I didn't know about this. He's also being paid a certain amount from another team every year as well. He negotiated the same deal with the Baltimore Orioles. When he played with the Orioles, $500,000 every year he negotiated when the Orioles, when he stopped playing for them, to pay him from 2024, so just recently started, through 2028. Unbelievable. I mean, this guy's a genius, Bobby Bonilla. It's a fascinating story. He comes out of high school, does Bonilla. He's not selected in the draft there in 1981. So he kind of gives up baseball. He spends a semester at the New York Institute of Technology. He pursues a degree in computer science. Okay, that doesn't really go anywhere. He ends up going over to Europe. He's signed by the Pirates after being spotted at a baseball camp in Europe. Pirates sign him. They like everything about him. Goes on and plays. He spends, you fast forward, he spends a couple of years with the Florida Marlins. He's part of that 1997 World Series team with Jimmy Leland, who was his manager in Pittsburgh. But in the spring of 1998, he was traded along with 4 other players to the LA Dodgers, which included Mike Piazza, Todd Zeile. Piazza wanted out. He wanted a new deal with the Dodgers. They didn't want to give it to him, at least not at his asking price, so they moved him. Bobby Bonilla, he'll be paid 10 more years, $1.19 million from the New York Mets, and another $500,000 from the Orioles through 2028. Happy birthday. It's Saturday, but happy birthday. If you're someone that wears this fashionable, high-priced clothes, well, Giovanni Versace. It's his birthday today. Would have been 78, no longer with us. Moved to Milan at the age of 26, where he started working in the fashion industry. Opens his first boutique in Milan in 1978, becomes fashion icon leader in the industry. Unfortunately, he was assassinated in Miami, where he was living at the time, in 1987. Happy birthday going out to Monica Seles. She's 52 today, 9-time Grand Slam winner in tennis. Also, happy birthday out to Britney Spears. And everybody will remember the first time they saw Britney Spears, if you are a red-blooded male American, first time that music video, Hit Me Baby One More Time, came out. Everybody will remember that. Britney Spears, 44 today. Also, happy birthday to Aaron Rodgers, 42 years of age. No longer with us here on this date, on December 2nd. Desi Arnaz passed away on this day back in 1987 from lung cancer at the age of 69. Of course, best known for his role as the husband in I Love Lucy, Ricky Ricardo. And we talked about this on yesterday's show because yesterday was his birthday, and today, on December 2nd, he died. Pablo Escobar, the king of cocaine, was killed by police in Colombia. He was 44 years of age. All right, hey, what the puck, as we wrap up Tuesday's edition of the Daily Puck Drop, brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. They are going to be your restoration company that's going to take care of you, let you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage. Reach out to them, restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. We go back to what Danny and I were talking about with Sam Darnold, and I don't think that the panic button needs to be hit yet on Sam Darnold, but it has been 3 games where Sam Darnold just hasn't played well. Is it all on Sam Darnold? No. The offensive line clearly played a major part in it last week. They didn't have an idea of how to slow down that pass rush and where the blitzes were coming from. But Sam Darnold hasn't played well. 4 interceptions against the Rams, backed it up against Tennessee. We talked about this, didn't really play all that well. The whole team didn't. Should have had at least 2 interceptions in that game. And then against the Vikings team, just didn't have an answer. Turned the ball over again. You know, when he was sacked and fumbled the ball, they just aren't hitting on all cylinders right now. And they do desperately need to find another option to Jackson Smith and Jigba. The good news is they keep winning because their defense is great. But to reach their goal, which is to win a Super Bowl, to win a championship, 14's got to be better. And Clint Kubiak and this team, collectively offensively, he's got to find a way to make it easier on Sam Darnold to find Jackson Smith and Jigba. Find a reliable second option because they need it. Because teams are going to look at what Minnesota did, and maybe they don't have the personnel to pull it off, but they're going to try to take out Jackson Smith and Jigba until they can find a number 2, a reliable option for Sam Darnold to go to. But as we mentioned with Danny, he doesn't have to be the reason they win the whole thing because he doesn't have to carry the team. That's the beauty of the Seahawks. They're built for a quarterback not to carry him. But he can't be the reason they don't win it. And he's trending in a bad direction here in the last few games, and hopefully he can turn it around this weekend against Atlanta. All right, that's Hey What the Puck. It's brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. Again, they're going to help you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. Reach out to them at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. Thank you for watching and listening today. Thank you for all the support. Big thanks to our sponsors. Let's start there. We can't do it without their support. Limback Lumber, Flat Stick Pub, Georgetown Brewery, Restoration One. Thank you, thank you, thank you. From the bottom of my heart that without your support, we can't do this every day. So thank you. And we can't do this every day without you guys tuning in, watching, and listening. So thank you as well. Find today's Daily Puck Drop up on YouTube. When you're there, hit that subscribe button. You want to help me out? Hit that subscribe button. And like it, leave a comment. It would be great. If you're an audio fan, of course, you can find this up on Apple and Spotify in both spots. Please do me a favor. It takes 30 seconds. Write a review. Rate the show. Give it 5 stars. Don't give it 3. Give it 5 stars. Write a review. That helps us there in that podcast world. That would be very useful to us. Also, visit me at pucksports.com. There you can find out everything that we do, plus a link to where you can sign up to become a Pucks Posse member. Supports everything that we do here daily. Plus, for that support, we give you bonus shows every single week. New edition of Inside Pitch with Ryan Divish comes out tomorrow, talking Mariners offseason. And Thursdays, KJ Arntz with Mitch Levy. All right, that's it for us on a Tuesday. We'll be back at it tomorrow on Wednesday. The go-to guy is back. You also have Rob Staten is back. Inside the bloody trenches. And, of course, for Pucks Posse members, Inside Pitch there with Ryan Divish. Also, for you Cougar fans coming out later today, Old Crimson podcast will come out as we wrap up the regular season there with myself, Paul Sorensen, and Jimmy Moore. So be on the lookout for that coming out later this afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow. As always, we promise to be better.
No shoes, no ties.
Anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you, but you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for? We like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!